Hello and welcome back everyone to the next episode on SAP ABAP on HANA come S4 HANA technical training. In our last episode, we talked about the concept of working with SAP code to data paradigm technique. We discussed our real-time OIS scenario and we've seen as a junior ABAP developer versus a senior ABAP developer, how can we achieve simple SQL changes to adhere to the guidelines to achieve better performance of our ABAP programs. Then we started talking about how ABAP meets HANA. We talked about the structure of SAP HANA database content, which includes the content area and the catalog area. The content area is a collection of all the packages where you do development of design time objects. When you activate the design time objects, the runtime object gets created. These runtime objects gets created in the schema. Schema is the home of all the runtime objects. This is where your object gets created. So ABAP system always talk to the default schema, which is given in the name of ABAP system itself to HANA. There's a question, I'm not able to see this schema in my HANA. So if you are using Anubhav training system, and when you log into HANA and not able to see this, I request you to drop an email on our official email ID for server support, mentioning that in HANA, you are not able to see the schema. Please do that today without fail so that you will my server team can help you out with that. Okay,
No,
having said
Anubhav.
that, yes sir.
Anubhav,
Yeah.
how can you open that system tab? Because I can see Project Explorer tab on left side, but I can't see the system tab on left
Okay,
side.
so you have to go to perspective and switch to SAP
Okay.
HANA development perspective, and then you will get the system tab.
Okay, cool. Fine.
Yeah.
Thanks. That is the
Please
only
note
issue.
that
Thanks.
if you want to use HANA system with Anubhav training server, you only have to log into remote desktop because we don't allow access of HANA database from your local machine. You have to go to remote desktop and then open HANA Studio in remote desktop and then open the perspective to show the HANA development perspective, and then you can see the systems and then you can see the schema under that. So this is what we learned in the last class. In today's session, we will start with concept of data modeling. So what is data modeling? So you just saw how ABAP meets HANA. So typically what happens is in ABAP system, when you install a ABAP system, at the time of installation beforehand only, you have a database. So here our database is HANA database. So when the basis team member install the ABAP system like S4 HANA, let's imagine you're working in a basis team and you've been asked to implement S4 HANA in your company. So you have a hardware where you install the SAP software. So install S4 HANA. At that time, you have to provide the schema name and connection details to HANA DB at the time of installing your S4 HANA. So these two details you will give, and ultimately what happens, a schema will get created inside the HANA database. In our case, the schema name is SAP HANA DB. So this ABAP system only interact with this schema. All the tables which you create in SC11 in ABAP system, they will ultimately get created inside the this schema. Yeah, only and only this schema. So you create a table and then you activate a table in ABAP. What happens? The runtime object gets created in this schema. Remember, schema is a home of runtime object. So in SE11, you create the table definition, you activate that, it gets created in this particular schema, which is HANA DB schema inside your database. Now, that is a very good concept. Suppose you have a BW system in your company and you use same HANA database for BW also. So for this, there will be a different schema name. Let's say SAP BWC, yeah, something like that. So in this case, you will have another schema called SAP BWC, and this way you can use the same HANA box for multiple systems. Yes. So your BW system also run on same HANA, and your S4 HANA also run on same HANA. when in the BW you have a C11 to create table, let's say you create a Mara table here. That Mara table exists in this schema, and the Mara table of S4HANA exists in this schema. So logically schema is separating your systems also. So that way, let's say you buy a 100 or 1000 GB HANA. Now your a BW system need 500 GB or 800 GB. So you give 800 GB to here and you give remaining 200 GB here. So you don't have to buy new database for every new system of SAP. So you can optimally utilize the same 1000 GB split across multiple schemas. So that way, your basis team will take a use of optimally use the resources available in the system. For different SAP system, they connect to same box, and each box have their dedicated schema for the data storage and application development. However, now we are not concerned about ABAP system because currently we are in the database layer. This is the first time you are inside the database layer and you do something in the database layer. So now here what we will do, we will be building views in this database actually. So let's talk about what is information model. Now before I talk about information model, I want to talk about modeling basics. Now what is modeling basics? So imagine a data set in a company. I just put here temporary data set. Like in a traditional company, just come back and just maybe put this over here. So I have the sales order ID, I have the company code or in which the sales was made, what is the country in which sales was made, or what was the material which was sold, what is the amount sold, and what was the currency of sales, or let's say country. Now I have sales order ID 1001. My company was A and material was M1. Amount was $500 or US. 1002 B M1 800 India. 1003 B again M2 900 India. 1004 A M2 1500 China. 1005 A M2 or M1 900 US. So now I have got this as my test data in my company for a typical sales, like any sales in the company. Now this data what you see in your company is based on reality. This is your reality in the company. So this is nothing but our sales in the company. So this is basically called as transaction data, also known as facts, because this is all based on real facts in the business. Now this is your transactional data or also known as fact data. Now on this data, what you can find in this data, you can find this important column to measure the performance of this data. Suppose you're working in the sales department, how the performance of the sales team is measured. It's based on how much sale they made. Yes, nothing matter for a sales team. Performance of a sales team is measured by volume of sales or amount of sales they have made in the company. Yes, that is the most important measure of the data. So measure is nothing but it's the key performance, or it is a numeric column in fact data to check how good, to check quality, whether the sales team is doing their job good or not. Yeah, that's the quality you are measuring. That's why it's called measure. All measures are numeric, but not all numeric are measures. Yes. So all numerics are not measures, but all measures are numeric data actually. So this is our measure data. Now using the measure, when we aggregate measure, we get KPI, key performance indicator. So if I aggregate this measure, I will get the total sales in the company. So if I apply aggregation on here, sum of sales. So I get the total sales ultimately in this. This is what I will get. Yeah. So that is our measure, and that is our total amount, total sales what we are getting. This is what we actually doing when it comes to our transaction data, or called as fact data. Okay. Now once we receive this, this is our fact data, and we've got total sales, we got the aggregated measure, it's called KPI. This will tell how good and bad company is doing in terms of sales. That's the only data you can derive out from your measure. Now remember, all measures are numeric, but not all numeric are measure. Like order ID. Order ID is not a measure. If you take example of a student data set, in student data set, roll number is not a measure, because you can't say based on roll number if a student will score good marks in the college or not, right? Whereas marks is a measure. Marks will tell whether he's a good student or a not good student. Yes, so that we will get to know. In similarly here, order number is a number field, numeric, but not a measure. However, the amount is a number field and is a measure. So not every numeric field is a measure, but every measure is a numeric value with which we can drive the KPI. So maximum from the fact data, we can drive the KPI. That's the maximum we can do, but not more than that. So what do we do? We also now bring our another data. So what I will do now, I will just go ahead and add another data set over here for demonstration, and just go back, and we just come here, and we can put the customer ID and customer name. So I put A, B, and C, and A will be, let's say my customer name is Apple, B will be SAP, and C will be IBM. This is my customer data. So now what I will do, I will actually combine. This is my dimension data. Yes, a data which doesn't change very often is called dimension data in your company, or also known as master data. This is my master data. Now it's also known as dimension. Why it's known as dimension? I will explain you. Because when you combine this master data with your fact data, you will get a completely new dimension. You will get completely new expertise. You will get completely new information. So what kind of dimension you will get? You will get actually top performing customer. How do I get that? So if you clearly notice, we can easily get top performing customer in our system with the help of combination of this data. So you will go here in the system, and you will just compare this A, and you see we have A here, and A here. So what is A? A is Apple. So we say Apple equal to total sales 500 plus 1500, 2000, 2900. So 2900 is the total sales. Now we combine B with these B, and sales is 900 and 800. So it's SAP 1700. Yes. And then IBM 0. So next time in your company, if you are conducting a customer summit and you have very limited budget to invite customers, you will certainly invite these two customers. Why? Because they have given you these sales. Yes. So they are important customers for you. Yes. So you got to choose Apple, of course, as number one, because they have given you the maximum sales. So you got a completely new perspective. And this is why it's called dimension. It's called dimension data. Now, similar to this dimension data, we can also have other dimension. For example, we can have product dimension, PID, and product name, let's say material 1, let's say iPhone, material 2, laptop, material 3, webcam. So which product was sold the most in my company? When you combine this data with the fact data, you get it. Another dimension you will get. Now, on a similar note, you can also get country-wise sales. So what is the country ID? Country name, India, China, and US. So now you get again the country-wise sales. Which country is the top performing country for the sales of your company? Now, on a similar note, another dimension could be time. Time is also another very important dimension with which you can compare the data, and that will help you to drive important answer of questions like what is my year on year sales, what is my quarter on quarter sales, yes, what is my daily sales. So time is another dimension which will tell you like daily sales chart, daily, monthly, weekly, quarterly, yearly, all these different dimensions you can look at, and you can get perspectives of different data. So that is also a dimension. So these are the different dimensions which you have. Now you can see that usually we keep our fact data in the center, and we will surround this data with the dimensions. So we will combine these dimensions like this. Yes. So like this we will combine everything, and you can see it is becoming a very nice beautiful structure. And you can see it look like twinkle twinkle little star, how I wonder what you are. So this type of structure is called star schema. So star schema is nothing but when you combine facts and dimensions together, this is called star schema. In traditional simple layman way, they are called joins. Yes, but in case of a data modeling perspective, yes, this is called star schema. So these are the basics of data modeling. Why we do data modeling? We do data modeling to give fruitful outcome for business, so that you can run your business and take better and informed decisions. That's the benefit you get with data modeling. Now, what are the benefits of data modeling? So before we understand the benefits, we need to understand disadvantages of query, and why did companies are moving more towards data modeling. So let's understand the disadvantage of queries. If you write queries to read data like we did in OIA scenario last time, we've written multiple queries. We've fetched the data for open item analysis for our business. So what are the problems when you work with queries and ABAP reports? So queries are written by technical consultants. Of course, a ABAP developer. Yes. So if you are new to ABAP, or you know, what will happen? You may not be able to write it. So functional consultants cannot do it. Yes, it's not easy to deal with queries. Second, it is very hard to visualize queries. So queries are like long list of statements written in a program, and you will not get that visual appeal. Remember, the diagram will give you more understanding than the code. So queries are written in code way, of course, and they will basically cause you, basically doesn't get any visualizing experience. There's no visual experience with the query. Third thing, knowingly or unknowingly, a developer may end up writing bad query. Yes, a developer may end up writing bad query design. really bad query design, that's what a developer may end up writing. So it is very, very difficult, yeah, in this situation that, like you saw, a fresher ABAP developer who just joined the company, you gave him the requirement and he like kind of messed up. The performance was very bad for the OIA scenario. So that maybe he's not as experienced as you are, but unknowingly there was not a good performance of his report. Yes. So this is also very, very difficult. And then what you need to do, this will cause overhead on your head, because then you will go and analyze queries, do static code checks, check for guidelines, review the code. It will increase more and more headache for you. So this is another problem with the queries. So someone might write up queries and they will execute in certain way that it may not give you good performance at times. The biggest disadvantage is people with non-technical experience cannot write queries. Yes, they need to know the syntax. They need to understand how it works in process and internal table and stuff like that. So these are the disadvantages of queries, and this is why, to overcome these disadvantages, in industry we use data modeling. So data modeling, or modeling in general, is a technique to combine dimensions and facts together in a graphical model with advanced tools. Yes, so we will not write queries. Yes, we will not be writing queries. We will be using graphical models with advanced tool, and we will not write queries. These models are easy to maintain and does not require too much of technical experience. The best part is they are built and managed inside the database itself. Since they sit very close to data, we can achieve very good performance in using code to data paradigm. So something which is sitting next to the data itself, right? Think about it. You are sitting working working near a petrol refinery. So how cheap it will be for you to put petrol and diesel in your car is something which you are very close to. I'm sure some of you during COVID have shifted to your hometowns. In your hometown, you have everything easily accessible, right? And it is also not so expensive. Rent is not expensive. Living cost is very low, right? Because you have easy access of everything. So that is the advantage you will have when it comes to ease of living. Similarly, if our processing logic sits next to the data, it's quite easy to pull the data, process the data very fast. And on top of it, you have anyway all the advantage of SAP HANA. So in SAP HANA, we can build data models. These are data design time objects. So in SAP HANA, these data models are design time objects created inside the package. And on activation, a HANA view gets created, which is the runtime object in a system schema called sysbic. Yeah. Sysbic is a default schema present in every HANA system. Your company system, my company system, every HANA system on this planet have this schema. So answering to the last class question, Nubhav, when I move my object from development to quality to production, yes, an activation happens in in production or in quality, how will my system know which schema to create this runtime object? Last class, I remember, you may remember or not, but I remember every question you ask me, and I'm liable to answer all of your questions when the right time comes. So this was a question in the last class from one of you, that when I move this object to quality and production and activation happens, how will the system find the same schema which was there in the dev? So guys, the schema name in which the object will get created will be sysbic, and this schema is present universally. Every HANA system have this schema. Sysbic. What is the full form? Sys stands for system. It's a system level schema. BIC stands for business intelligence content. BIC. So whenever you create a view or a data model, yes, in HANA, which is a design time object in a package, on activation, a HANA view, this is the runtime object, which will execute at the end, gets created in sysbic schema, and this schema is present universally. Yes, this schema is present universally everywhere. Makes sense. Beautiful. Makes sense. So now we understand the concept of data modeling. Now, what are the types of data model in HANA? There are three types of data model. You might have already heard about them. So types of data models in HANA. There are three types of data models in HANA. Attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view. First, let's talk about attribute view. What is attribute view? Attribute views are used to build dimensions like pure master data. They are processed by join engine in HANA. Hence, provide best performance for master data. These are attribute views. We must define a key field for our attribute view. This is required. This is mandatory. You must provide a key field for the attribute view. Okay. I will be building attribute view. Don't worry. Usually they start with AT underscore. Yeah. This is what an attribute view is all about. So they are processed in the join engine. Join engine is best performer for performing joins and usually good for master data. Then comes this analytic view. Analytic views are built are used to build facts and dimensions together. So basically the analytic views can reuse tables and other attribute views. Yes, that's what analytic views are used for. We aggregate the data using analytic view. They are processed in OLAP engine or called analytic engine in HANA, which is designed to give best performance for aggregation, like different aggregation function. This starts with an underscore analytic view. Last, we have the calculation views. Calculation views are the are used for complex calculation built on top of tables and other view types. So all the other view types can be used in the calculation view. We can also use the CE functions, which are built-in calculation engine functions inside these views. They are the most sophisticated view types in SAP HANA, processed in calculation engine. Yes. Starts with or contains usually CV underscore calculation views. There are two subtype of these views. What are the subtype of these views? The subtype of these views are scripted calculation view and graphical calculation view. I will be teaching you both as part of our training, scripted calculation view also and graphical calculation view also. Now you may wonder, Anubhav, why did SAP introduce so many type of views? Isn't it possible to just have one type, which is calculation view, and do everything with that itself? Why did SAP have all the different view types? To understand that, let me tell you one simple layman example. Let's take an example of Malhotra family. Yes, Malhotras. Yes, Malhotra family. So in this family, we have the grandpa and grandma. Then grandpa, grandma. Then they have sons and daughters and all. So then we have the papa and mama. And then we have children's. Okay. This is a happy family. Now, job of grandpa and grandma is to take care of household and guide the family whenever there is a problem because they have lifelong experience. Guide the family when there is a issue in the family, how to come out of a dilemma or situation when something happens in the life. So they will be the ultimate guardians of galaxy. Yes. So that is the job of grandma and grandpa usually in the life. What is the job of papa mummy? Papa is to go to office and he reach office and he will make lot of money through which we buy expensive items, paying the fees of babies and also taking care of all the household. Mama also go to office, makes lot of dollar, and she also cooks in the kitchen just to feed the family. Mama is a all rounder, does everything for everyone. Yes. So that's the duty of mama. Duty of kids is to go school and study in the school. Imagine next day you wake up, you realize grandfather is going to school, kids are going to office to make money, and papa is working in the kitchen. Yes, the whole system will disturb for society, isn't it? So indeed there is a system in society, and this system is telling us what is whose duty and how are they doing their duty. That's the system. Yeah, that's a system. In the family, each one of the person have their own jobs and duties and responsibilities to perform. Now think about HANA family. In the HANA family, we have attribute view, analytic view, and calculation view. So grandpa is good in guiding. He's not good in perhaps going to school. Kids are, very active. They will have energy. They are full of life. They will be, you know, organizing all the fun events, birthdays, parties, and everything in the family. So grandfather and grandma may not have that much of energy what kids have, right? So each member of this family have their capabilities, have their weaknesses, and have their strength. Yes. When these family members have their own duties, someone have some strength, someone other one have another strength. Like attribute view good in doing the joins, because it's processed in the join in, it's optimized for joins. And that's what where we use joins when we build master data, then we use joins heavily. So when you build master data or deal with pure master data, you will always deal with attribute view. When you want to process the fact data combined with the dimension data, then you go with analytic view, because this is good in doing aggregation. It's processing an analytical engine, which is good in doing sum, min, max, average, count. So this is the reason why each of them are there. That's the reason why initially SAP have got these three types of views. But you know, 7 years ago in HANA 2.0, SAP have made the analytic views and attribute views as deprecated. What is deprecated meaning? Some people think deprecated meaning deleted and cannot be done anymore. No, deprecated means SAP do not recommend you to create these views anymore. Second, SAP will not fix any issue. Let's say today I build an attribute view in my company. I found an issue in SAP itself. I report it to SAP. SAP will close my ticket without answer, because SAP clearly told us do not use attribute views anymore. It's deprecated. Also, in the future, if the new tools are coming in the market, like BAS, for example, SAP will not support attribute analytic view with those new tools. That's what it means. But doesn't mean you can't. You can still create these views in the system. Yeah. Then Anubhav, what's the alternative? Calculation view is the only alternative now which prevails. And using this, you can create both dimension and measures also can be created with the calculation view, which I will also show in the training. Now I want to ask you guys, what do you want me to do? Do you want me to still show one example of attribute and analytic view, then go to calculation view? Or do you want me to completely discard attribute analytic view and directly jump to calculation view to teach? What is your choice? I want to ask audience, one example or direct calculation. What do you guys want me to do in this training? I'm waiting for your answers in the chat window. One example of each. Okay. So we will do one example based on the feedback I received just now. And it makes sense also, because at least if you come across a project which is a old project, let's say you never know, na? You go to a company and that company is still working on an old project, and there you have attribute view, analytic view. So you should know at least how are they built. We'll see one example of attribute analytic view. And later on, we'll go to calculation views actually. So let's create our attribute view with the pure master data. And I would like to build a attribute view for product data. So remember last class, or what is an attribute view? What is a data model? They are design time objects. Yes. Data models are design time objects. And where do you create design time objects? You create design time objects inside a package. And when you activate, what happens? A runtime object, which is HANA view, gets created. In which schema? Sysbig schema. So that's what will happen in the system. So I'll head over back and I will be creating my first exercise example for create an attribute view. So let's go ahead and see the example. I would like to create an attribute view to display product data to the user. And once again, we will be using our EPM data tables from our ABAP schema in HANA. So let's go there and create a package. First of all, under the content, I create a new package. In the package, I will give the name. Let's call this package name as Feb Anubhav. All the objects, design time objects, are created inside a package. I click on OK. Now a package is created, Feb Anubhav. Under this package, we will create our views or data models. You can call them anything. Right click, let's create a new attribute view. Let's call it as AT underscore product. Now, my question to all of you this evening, based on the last class. Let me see who can remember last class. Can you create a attribute view with the same name as AT product? Yes or no? Can you also create a new attribute view in your company, in your system with the same name AT product? Yes or no?
Yes.
Yes, as long as the package is different, it can.
Very good answer. You can, provided your package is different. Yeah, you can do that. Because I told you in the last class, let's come back. Mapping to theory. I know some of you were bored of theory yesterday. I gave lot of theoretical concepts. Today we will utilize those concepts to map it. Yeah. So if you come back, I explained about the package. So package provides security, it grouping, and it also serve as a namespace. So you can create a table or a object with same name as your friend can do or colleague can do or SAP can do, provided package is different. This I gave in the last class. Those who have gone through the video again, those who've gone through my last class lecture, those who remember last class, they can easily tell. Yes. So we can do that. So you can also create your own package and create with the same name, it will work. So it's an attribute view I'm creating. Click on finish. Pure master data, guys, we will be dealing with. And you see a graphical editor. Wow. No need to write queries. Wow, Anubhav. Wow. Complete graphical. You don't have to coding. No coding is required. No SQL knowledge is required to build these views. You know what? My sister's daughter is studying in 11th standard. I sat with her. I teach her how to build views. And now she can also build views also. I just tell her the table name. She can also create the views because there's no technical knowledge required. It's purely graphical. You just need to know your data model. You need to know your tables and how these tables can be connected. It's as easy as that. So now I will add database tables for product and product text. So I will come here, SNWD PD, product table, search. Here it is. In SAP HANA DB schema, my ABAP schema, where the table is, I add that. You see the table has come. I also add SNWD text table, which is my product text table. I also got here. So these are my two tables in the system. Wow. I'm using control scroll up, scroll down. You can zoom up and zoom down here. You see the zoom button is there. Yes. So you can zoom up and zoom down. This zoom button is there at the bottom. And now I'll connect. So I connect client with client and I will connect my product, the description GUID. Yes. With the parent GUID here to get the language specific description from the text table. Yes, you can see the language field is LANGUAGE. This is the field. I showed you already the EPM data model earlier that the text table contain language specific description of different products. So I did the join. That's it. It's as simple as that. Now you can expose columns out. So I add this to output, node key to output, product ID, category, and product text. These are the properties I'm adding out. Wow. So right click and add to output. You can now see the fields which I'm exposing out of my view. I can also come back and rename these columns if I want to. For example, instead of text, I'll say description, product description. So this will be the new name. It's a new alias name, but ultimately it is pointing to the text column of text table. That is ultimately it's getting it from. Okay, I'm happy with this view. I can save it. What do you do of a design time object? Anybody? Before you run, what do you do of a design time object? Anybody?
We activate.
Activate. Very good. Fantastic answer. What happens when you activate a design time object, my friends?
Runtime object will be created.
Runtime object gets created. Third question, where will this runtime object gets created when you activate a data model?
The
It's stored in the
schema.
schema.
Which schema? System schema. What's the name?
System.
Sysbik schema.
SY underscore base.
Very good. I'm very happy with your answers. Thank you so much. This is so far the best batch I am attending. You guys are very, very attentive, and this is really good for a trainer. I am so happy that you are answering my questions and you are able to understand. So this is our design time object. We will go for activation. But hold on. I told you that in order to create an attribute view, it is mandatory to give one key field. Yes. But I did not give. So what will happen if I activate? It will not work. It will not activate basically. So let me open the console. So in the right, you see this button and you can see here job log where you can see activation status. So I'll go and check it. So there's this check button and then there's a activate button. You can directly activate also if you want. So click activate. You see it is running and let's see. You see completed with error. It failed. Why did it fail? Double click and analyze. It says no central table found. No attribute has been specified as a key. So remember last class I told you the power of design time objects, that if you do something bad, something wrong, system will terminate. System will terminate you. Yes, it will terminate you then and there itself. When you activate, it takes care of all the consistency checks. If there is something wrong, some wrong findings have been found, if there is something bad, something not truly right, then this will lead to errors and system will not allow you to proceed actually. Yeah, system will terminate your actions. It will never contaminate your database. So that is what happened. It doesn't activate, it doesn't create the runtime object at all until we fix the issue. That's the power of design time objects. I click OK. I can specify the key now. So let me go to node key and mark it as a key field. So in the properties down there, you see the key is false. Let's make it true. Very nice. I hope everybody's clear how to make a key. Now let me activate again and voila, this time you can see it got activated. Now most importantly, what I taught you in the last class, I want to show you. Double click, you can check activation log and you can see here this block. You see this is the SQL which was created. This is the query DDL statement which was created. Remember, we never write SQL ourselves. When we activate, the system will generate the SQL for you. Last class, come on guys, come on. You see, we activate the design time object. The SQL processor creates the SQL for you and it creates the object runtime object for you. Is this clear? Hello, are you clear what was taught in
Yes,
the last
Anurag.
class in reality? Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Any doubt? Are you clear? Are you able to understand what's happening behind the scenes? Very good. Now, one more
So Anurag,
interesting. Yeah, go ahead.
one question. So this views are not possible to create in Eclipse, right? You always have to do it through the HANA Studio.
Yes, because we are directly working with database layer now. Because we want to achieve code to data paradigm. So we have to push down our logic in the database. We have to directly work with the database. That's why. Okay. All right. So now you see one more interesting thing I want to highlight, my friends. Look at this. Do you see the schema name in which it is creating this object? And now look at the object name. So this is the runtime object name. Schema name dot the object name. Look at the object name. Can anyone tell me how did system build this object name? Anyone in the room? How did system build this object name? I keep my object name 80 product. Why it is putting this thing? What is this?
That's a package name for the design
Very
type.
good answer. So come on again, go back to the last class. Guys, I am just mapping with the last class. So whenever you create an object, yes, this is your object, this is your package. The runtime object name will be package name slash, sorry, not colon, package name slash the object name. So what it is doing, it is creating now a view in HANA, the runtime object with the package name slash the object name. So this is your runtime object. Yeah, this is your runtime object. Click OK. You can also find the runtime object name in semantic view properties and here. So this is the schema name dot the object name. Look at the object name. It is Feb Anubhav, which is my package name slash the object name. I copy this name. I go back on the left this area to open the system view again. If you collapse, it goes like this. You can also press Control M. Control M is a shortcut. Control M. Control M. Control M is the shortcut to bring that view. Go take it away. M. Control M. Come, go, come, go, come, go, come, go, come, go, come, like this. Now I select HANA and I click this SQL console here. And now I'll fire a query. So select star from my runtime object. So this is the schema name dot package name slash object name. So this is my runtime object in sysbig schema. I execute. Voila! Anubhav! Wow, Anubhav! That's my data coming out of my data model. And all the processing is happening in database. Till here, any question? Don't jump forward. I am going forward. Don't worry. I'll answer all your question, future questions. Any question till here? Any question till here? Till here, what I did. Okay, very good. So now you understood the concept of design time object and runtime object. So Satyan, your question is looking way forward. Please wait for the next class. It will be answered. Okay, now I have got my attribute view in the system. Now the beauty here is it is processed deep into the database. All the processing of this view is happening in HANA. So HANA is built for the kill. It is multi-core CPU, all data stored in the RAM, good compression, parallel processing, all the benefits are you remember, which you learned in the previous classes? Yes, my friends, you are taking an advantage of all of that actually. All of that advantage you are taking actually. That's the advantage you're getting out of the box. Very nice. Very nice. Super, fabulous, awesome. So now that is our concept of design time object and runtime object, our first view, attribute view. In a similar fashion, let's create an analytic view for building some analytics to get maybe sales and sales item data for each product. So the beauty is, as I told you, let's go back. So I'm mapping everything with theory. Whatever theory I'm teaching you, yes, I'm going to cover this theory, mapping it with the practical in the system so that you can understand what I taught you here. Okay, one question. Do you guys feel this theory, what I taught you yesterday and today, this may not be helpful so much and we should not learn this theory because it's boring, it's not interesting, and next time onwards I should directly go to system and just do practical? What do you feel? Shall I stop teaching theory from next class, directly do coding and coding in the classes?
No, Anupam, these are like most of the questions for certification questions, I feel.
Yes, they are, and they are interview questions also. So one way is we can directly code and get the outputs of our scenarios. But when we learn theory, we are understanding what is happening behind the scenes. Why SAP design like this, right? That we are understanding. Thank you for confirming. I hope you are enjoying today this mapping what we learned yesterday and today. Okay, can we give alias name for the views? We cannot. We cannot. We cannot. Okay, now coming back. So that is the first part of the story, attribute view. Let's create an analytic view now. So I create a new analytic view, and I want to create a sales analytics, for example. Yes, sales, analytic sales. I click on finish. Now let's create an analytic view. So in this analytic view, now you can see we can first put data foundation. This will include your fact data. You see, your fact data, your transactional data that you will put in the data foundation. So let me put here my sales order table and my sales order item table also. Yes, that I will add, and I will also join them. So my sales order table joined with sales order item table, and this also I connect. So I connected order and order item. Now one more interesting thing, if I double click on the line, you can see here we got different join types. I will explain you the different join types in the system, yes, in few minutes. But let's complete our view first. So now I've got here the order and order item. Let me expose the columns in the output. So there are two node keys now, so I can rename this to item key. I can't rename it here. I have to do it in above layer. So maybe I'll just delete. I will just add this one as a in the output. And now I will just put here the buyer GUID. Who's the buyer of the order? I will put product GUID. What is the product which was sold? What is the amount which was sold, and what was the currency code in which the amount was sold? So this is some of the data and all the status of my order I will add. So this is our output data which we want to add. Now we can go to star join. What is a star join? I showed you today. A star join is nothing but it's a combination of your master data and transaction data fact with the dimension, right? So what I do, I go to star join. I will now in the star join section, I will drag and drop my attribute view, this attribute view. Yes. So you can see the second point which I mentioned in the theory. If you go back, everything I'm doing what I taught you. I'm not doing anything beyond that. So a analytic view can be built on top of facts, which is our order, sales order and order item, and dimensions. So dimension here is a attribute view. So the attribute view which we built earlier is representing our dimension. So we are building our analytic view based on that. So let's join client with the client, and let's join here this product GUID with the node key of the product. This is the key of the product table. So you see almost zero technical knowledge required, no coding experience required to build this kind of objects, and even a person with little knowledge of database and tables, they can also build it. Superb. So now the best part, what I love about analytic views, they are built for the kill. They are built for analytics, to show analytics to our user. Yes. So if you go to semantics, you will find here the views. You can again make some keys if you want, for example, like this, but it is not mandatory to make keys for analytic views. Not mandatory, but if you want, you can. Then you can see in this whole data, can anyone tell me and guess for me, what is my measure in this data, in this entire data set? What do you feel is your measure? Any
Gross
guess?
amount.
Gross amount.
Gross.
I love your
Gross.
answer. Thank you so much. So as I told you today in modeling basics, that in our data set, here this amount was a measure because it's a numeric column which represent the key performance indicator or how good or bad the data is. So similarly here our sales data, this is our measure. Now remember the rule of the game. In analytic view, it is mandatory to mark at least one measure. If you not do this, like it was mandatory to mark a key in the attribute view, it was mandatory. Similarly here it is mandatory to mark at least one field as measure. So let me do that. I'm going to switch over back and I will go here. So if I try to activate, it will dump. Yeah, let me activate. You see, please specify a measure. You see, it's dumping. It's giving an error. Now activation is failing. So I have to make gross amount as my measure. So here I click the scale icon to mark it as a measure. So you see, I marked it as measure. Very nice. Rest all. I will make dimensions. These are my dimensions. All right. So the default aggregation is sum, which means whenever you analyze your data against any of the dimension, it will sum. So what was we've been doing in our example of modeling? We were actually, when we were analyzing the data by customer, combining and analyzing, it was summing the total sales of the each customer. So that is what the default aggregation will do. You can mark here average, mean, max also if you want, but sum is default, which is good. I will now activate my object. Activate. Let's see the activation status. Control M, and completed with error again. There is an error. Let's double click. It says inconsistent logical join physical table in data foundation. So let's come back and check the join. So if I double click here, I have to put cardinality of the join 1:n, that for one sales order there are multiple line items. I just do that, save. I also just check this join here. So for one product ID, for one product there are multiple product IDs. Okay, hopefully it should work. Let me activate. No, it's failing, guys. Let me just check what's the issue. So logical join point to different physical table in data foundation of analytical view. I think I have to also include the parent key. I think at least this parent key also have to include in the join. Let me try. That could be the issue, guys. Let me save and retry. So something is wrong. You can see it's failing, and maybe it could be here, this issue. So the way we do the join is wrong. So maybe I put the dimension and fact. Let's join my node key with the product GUID, and we will say 1:n. So for one product, yes, there are multiple items. There are multiple product GUIDs in the fact data, of course. So I did that join. Now save it. Let's try again. It is still failing, guys. Something is wrong. Something is terribly wrong in our data model. Have I used the same schema to do the join? Let me just check it. We are doing something wrong here in the data model. So this is 1:n. Is this because of client? Let me remove the client field right now from the join. That should not be the case, guys. Let me just give it a try. It's failing constantly. Why? Let me investigate. So at least one runtime reported as an error in activation. Okay. Encountered an error in repository runtime. Model inconsistency. Client must be unique. It has already been used. Okay. We have to also join the client now. Let me try again. It's constantly failing. Alias client must be unique. Okay. So I think there is a problem with the client field, which we have added. So here is the client. I got ya, guys. Since I'm including the client field in the output, it is causing an issue. Let me remove this from here. So what is happening? Ultimately, this client on the top, you see here, the client is already coming from our product data. Yes. And we also having the client here earlier. So this was causing a conflict. So that is why the issue was not happening. That's why there was an issue. Okay, let's try now. Okay, now let's see. Alias node key must be unique. It's already been used. Also the node key is the issue. So you see, we are exposing here this node key in the output, and there is one node key which is coming from product view already. You see this node key is coming from product view already. So what is the solution? So these are the duplicate column issues actually. Two column names, one from the product and one from our existing model. They are causing duplicate issue. Yeah. So what we'll do, we will rename this node key here, we will rename. So we will rename it to order item GUID, order key, let's say. Okay. So it will not cause the confusion in the final output. So that is what I'm doing to avoid the issue. Okay, let's save and try again. Congratulations, guys. We looked at the log, we solved all the issues, and finally it's working fine. Yes, each column is unique. Voila. So that is our analytic view, which we created. Complete graphical modeling, zero coding. But look at the output. I review the output and I will preview the output and I will get my data here. So you can see all the raw data. So for each product category, product name, product description, yes, currency, item, the amount is coming here, which was sold to customers. Yes, you can see distinct values here. So I want to know what is for each product, how much was sold. So what is the name of the product, how many percentage of each product was sold in the company, what was the each category of sold items. So how many softwares were sold. So 17% sold items were software. This was the count of records. These many orders have come in your company for softwares. So it's a top selling product category for your company. Yes. Now if you go to analysis, you can actually analyze your data here in form of a chart. So I can say, show me for each product category, what is the total sales? And voila, look at that. How beautiful this dashboard, this analytics is over here. Look at this. Whoa. Anubhav, look at that, guys. Look at that. This is out of the box. You get it from the system. Yes. When you analyze the data in analytical views. So I want to know per product description. So which product was sold the most? These are the products in your company. So which product is sold the most in your company? You get this output out of the box. Cool. So this is the kind of analytics you can directly produce over here in HANA Studio. After you build your data model, you have an option to save as a HTML file or XML file or a text file this data and send it to user. You can view table, grid or HTML output according to what you want, and then you can export this information and send it to your manager or let's say someone. Now this is more of a developer tool. Yeah, this is more of a developer view, how a developer visualize the data. What about end user? How will my end user get it? So one option is you can save and send it over the email. Another option, you can build application, and that application can show the data to the user. So at the moment we have not reached to the stage where we can build an application, but if somebody or somebody who have taken already my UI5 training, I will show you a video series which you can watch on YouTube to expose your calculation view data in a Fiori application. So these days we are always building Fiori applications, yeah, to user. So here we say calculation view to Fiori app. So I have created a video series here where I have shown you how to combine your calculation view data which is coming and build a ultimately a Fiori application on top of it. So build a Fiori app. So you see here, build a Fiori app using HANA information model. Yes. So we're building in Fiori application ultimately. So this is the video. In case you are interested to watch, you can't control your excitement. If you can't wait for upcoming classes and you want to right away do it today itself after the class, once you build your view and you know UI5 Fiori, you have taken my UI5 Fiori training. If you have, and you have the right knowledge on the table, then you can actually build this killer application. So I say HANA, views, OData and Fiori, killer application. Yeah, this is what we will build. So I'll just quickly show you just to sensitize you what I've done. So what I have is I have got this kind of an output in HANA Studio, what I'm just showing you here. And ultimately the same thing, You can build a Fiori application to your user, give it to your user. So this is the HANA Studio and this is the Fiori app. You see, I built a Fiori app actually. And this Fiori app, I can give it to my users and I can change the chart type in the Fiori app. So if you have the right knowledge, you can actually do amazing stuff for your business. I mean, who will not double your salary? Think about it. If you have the right knowledge on the table, no company can say no to you. No company can say no to you. You are most welcome by all the top employers. They are waiting for you. And salary, what you demand. But can you bring the knowledge on the table? That's the question. So in case you want to watch that video on YouTube, you can't control your excitement to share this as a Fiori application to your user. You can watch that video series. Entire source code is also made available on YouTube for free. It's all free. My love back to community. So that you can do. Okay, so this is a example of a analytical view. So we saw attribute view and we saw analytical view. So any question before I move to the next part to explain the join types in HANA and then build calculation view in the system? Of course, I will answer your question of transporting these objects to quality and how to consume them in ABAP. These are all topics which are planned for this training. I understand your excitement and curiosity. We will we will cover everything, guys. Everything. I'll make you expert on ABAP on HANA. It's my duty. It's my duty. But any question so far on analytic view, please ask.
Anubhav, so we need to create these always in the HANA database directly, or or we can create in ABAP layer too.
We can only
Or
create
it's
them
like
in HANA because these are information model pertaining to HANA DB. We can never create them in ABAP. We are
okay.
doing code push down. We are building inside database because our data is also here and our view is also here. So it can interact with data here itself and produce the final result, which will get you the performance you need. Yes. So that is what we are getting.
So these must be built in the HANA development perspective because we have other perspectives also, right? In HANA database, here in the HANA Studio, like HANA Modeler. So I just want to check.
Yes, you have to build it in only this perspective only. Actually, you can build in modeler perspective also or development perspective also. So any perspective you can. Perspective, what is a perspective? It's just a environment. It's just your Eclipse environment. It will configure your Eclipse environment according to these perspectives. So these are the two perspectives in which you can build it. These are not systems. It's not like building in another system. These are just look and feel of your environment. Just like in your Gmail, you can choose a Christmas theme and your Gmail look and feel will change. So these are just look and feel of different kind of development for different purpose. Suppose you want to do Java development, you switch to Java perspective, you get Java specific options in the Eclipse tool. So it is just going to show you different options according to the perspective. So you can use modeler or development perspective to build it.
Okay, thank you.
No, I have one question. So you have mentioned that it will be always stored in the SysBig schema universally in all systems. But then, whenever the user is created, right, the schema with the same username gets created, and you have mentioned that it's a playground where the user can learn, test, and develop demo. So that schema, for example, in the user ID which we have, that user schema would be created in that. So will it not be stored in that schema?
Okay, so that schema is a different concept, sir, which I will cover later, the user specific schema, but we will all the views will be created in SysBig schema. Now, suppose you feel this view which you created here is for training purpose. You don't want to give it to production. You don't transport. Let it be here. Yes. So I will show you transport soon, how to transport. So if you don't want it to reach to, unnecessarily to end users, then you don't transport. As simple as that. but there is no way we can say that these views can be created somewhere else. Yeah, we cannot.
So this views which we created, it will not be stored in our user schemas.
No, it will be always in sysbig schema. However, there are other kind of objects which get stored in our local schema, which I will teach later, not today.
Okay, got it, Anubhav. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. There's one more question in the chat window here. Why NodeKey with the product GUID? Please check the design created by Sanket. Sanket has already created EPM data model design earlier, which I have shared with all of you. Kindly check the database tables and their design. You will understand how the joins are working in these tables. Yeah. So then it's the same thing. We are using the same join.
I have one more question. Like as you explained, these views run in different engines, right? So those engines exist in index server, or like where exactly those exist in the HANA database architecture?
Okay, ma'am, you have to actually really go back and study my classes, which
Okay.
I am every day giving
Okay.
it. All of this was covered already in the previous classes, ma'am. Please go back to the session number 3 where I covered the HANA architecture, ma'am. It was already covered here.
Okay. Okay. Sure.
Yeah, it's in the slide. We removed the client column. Will it not cause an issue? No, because you know, we are already doing the join at the bottom layer. You see, the client is joined already here. So the data of only this particular, client will go up. And especially later on when we call it from ABAP will only fetch the login client data. So it will not matter. So this AT and AN naming convention are only for custom objects. So here there is no concept called custom objects or standard objects. We are in HANA. We are not in ABAP. This is not ABAP system. In ABAP we have concept of Z and Y. But these are just naming convention. You can create a view with the name Spider-Man. Nobody will stop you. It will work. It will work. So there is no rule here like what we have in ABAP. Yes, there is no rule here, sir. Yeah, there is no rule. So this is not ABAP. Remember, again, I would like to repeat my last class very, very clearly. I have covered everything in every single session with theory. You have to go through these classes every day. After the class is done next day, please go through my lectures. It will become extremely difficult for me to jump on back again and again on old classes. So I clearly told that a package has nothing to do with ABAP packages. Yes, it has nothing to do with that. And it has nothing to do with ABAP. We are in HANA. We are developing in HANA. So ABAP package and ABAP package specific rules doesn't apply here. Zakira has a very good question. Can we do currency conversion? Please wait. Let me also answer that. So I will, after the break, I will start with three important topics. We will talk about the concept of joins. We'll talk about concept of currency conversion. Yes, because our current output is not correct. To be very honest, it's not pure. I will discuss that with you and do currency conversion. Then we'll talk about calculation view example. And then we will discuss about how do you transport these views to quality and production and what is the journey, how it happens in HANA. So let's take a break here and we'll join back after a short break. We started 5 minutes late, so we will be taking extra 5 minutes in our session also. So I'll be back after a short break and then we will begin the next set of topic. All right, welcome back after the break. So before the break, we learned about creating our first attribute and analytic views. Now, if you look at the result set, it's kind of not normal because we have got the output, we have got the results, no problem. But look at here. In the raw data, you realize that our data of output results, which is these sales, are in different currencies. You see Canadian dollar, British pound, Japan yen, Swiss franc, yes, euro, Indian rupees, yeah, Mexican currency, yes, different currencies are there. So is it true or is it right functionally to some Canadian dollar? with Indian rupees and then show what is the total sales per product or per category? Not correct. Yes. Because 460 Indian rupees is not equal to 460 Canadian dollar. So summing of these values are functionally incorrect. So ideally we should do currency conversion. We can't total Indian rupees with euro and say this is the total sales. Cannot, because 460 Indian rupees is not equal to 460 euros, right? So you can't total it with euro or like heterogeneous currency. So we need to get this result correctly, because this result is not correct. It's just summing up blindly all the numbers without respecting the currency. So to get the correct result, this is a wrong result. This is a simply wrong result. Yes, we can't rely on this. It's just summing up all the INR with euro, with GBP, with Swiss franc. Yes, which is wrong. So we have to do currency conversion. Last class you saw currency conversion done in ABAP is quite expensive, but now you will see how we do currency conversion in HANA. So we are within HANA, and within HANA itself we can perform currency conversion. At the same time, I don't want currency to be converted in a hard coded currency, like let's say hard coded to euro. I would want it to be dynamic. So I decide, as Anubhav, I decide what currency you should convert, and the view should execute and convert into that currency, not hard code. Yes, not hard code your currency to be converted. So for that, we have provision to create input parameters so that we can pass the currency as a input, which in which we want to convert it. So I come back and say I am input parameter currency. So I can say pass me the currency code, and I can reference with the default value, like default is euro I'm setting if user doesn't pass. And then I say semantic currency, data type, let's say varchar of 4. So it's a currency field of 4 characters. Perfect. I can click on OK. So I've created a parameter. In this parameter, next time when somebody call my view, they got to pass me. They got to pass me the parameter name. Yes, the value. And I will be converting to my this parameter. In addition, I will also create a column, which is a calculated column with new column. And in this column, I will just put, let's say, current CURR date. You can put anything. You can say Spider-Man, doesn't matter. Yes. So I'm just putting current date. I'll tell you the reason why I'm putting this later on. It's of date, data type. It's a attribute. And now here I will see the available functions. So look at these functions HANA gives me. Whoa, Anubhav. So we have many functions over here. Look at that. So I'll use this function now. Now function is like in ABAP, you have side datum, which gives you current date. So the now function in HANA is going to give you the current date. Okay. I'll make this as a hidden parameter. What do you mean by hidden? Hidden means when somebody use my view, they will never ever see this parameter actually. Yes, that's what the hidden parameter means. So somebody who will use my view, they will never be able to consume this view, because this parameter, this field I'm creating to be used internally, it is consumed internally within the views. Yeah, it is consumed internally. So now I've got this current date and click OK. You can see we got a parameter, we got a calculated column which is current date. And now we are going to calculate another column, and in that column I'm going to do currency conversion. Yes, in that I'm going to do currency conversion. So let me right click and say new calculated column, and this is where I will create a calculated amount. Yeah, so let's say converted gross amount. And watch out guys, zero coding. Even school student can learn, even school students can build views in HANA. Very easy. Very, very easy, guys. Okay, so it's a measure. You all know amount is a measure, of course. And now we will put here the base value. So we select our gross amount, what we want to convert. This is what we want to convert. And to convert, we got to go to semantics. And here we apply the conversion rules. So we say it's a amount or quantity. So of course it's an amount. And I want to do conversion. Yes. Then what is the conversion schema? I mean, where are my tables? In which schema are my tables where currency rates are maintained? So we can go F4 help and we can choose our ABAP schema. We choose source currency. Source currency will come from currency code column from database itself, whether it is Euro, INR, US dollar, Swiss franc, GBP, which currency is this? So that comes from my database table itself for every record. When it is reading every record, the currency is going to come from there. What is my target currency? And that's certainly going to be my input parameter, dynamic. I don't want to hard code. So I choose input parameter and put my input parameter, which I will be passing to the VU at runtime. And what's my exchange type? My exchange type is going to be, we will use M. This will be told by functional consultant to you usually. In your company, there will be a functional consultant who will teach you this, who will tell you this setting, what to keep. And conversion date, we don't want to hard code today's date. If you hard code like this, then tomorrow you have to modify the view. Next day again, you have to modify your view. Next day again, you have to modify your view because you're putting hard coded date. That's not good. That's not fair, right? So you have to put it dynamic. How do you dynamic? So you do F4. You can see column and then you can choose here the column as CURR date, current date. Click on OK. Exchange rate, we can put exchange rate, and if you have exchange rate you can give that. Yes, we don't have that, let's leave it empty, it's not mandatory. What to do if conversion fails? Shall I stop the view? Shall I dump the view? For time being I will choose ignore. If rates are not found, ignore. In productive system you will go with the fail. Yes, it's a training time, I'm training you guys. I know some rates are not there in my system, so for time being I'm ignoring. But when you build something real time, you will basically let it dump. Click OK. Okay, and it will create a new column here which is rates. I guess we are good. Click OK. Please specify length and scale. Oh, I'm so sorry, we have to give the data type of this output column as decimal 15.2. This will be the output data type. It's a measure. Click OK. Congratulations, a new calculated gross amount is created. Let's reactivate my view. Activation works and you can preview the data. So you can click the button here to preview the data. And wow, look at that. It's asking now, Anubhav, tell me a wish. In which currency you want to convert? And the default is euro. Guys, in our training system, we have rates for dollar and euro. You can pass euro or dollar, it'll work. So I pass euro, okay, and go to raw data this time, and let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's check it out. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. So you can see the Canadian dollar. Yes, and output is euro. So what is Canadian dollar? 19 Canadian dollar. How much it is? 12 euro. Wow, look at that. It has done the conversion. Superb, guys. Superb. Fantastic. You see, British pound, how much? 92 British pound equal to 118 euros. You can see. This is how the conversion is taking place. Fantastic. Fabulous. Fabulous, guys. Fabulous. Okay. So now I can also try passing it raw another parameter. So we'll pass a dollar. Let's convert to dollar. See if it works. USD. Click OK. And raw data. And this time everything converted to dollar. You see USD, 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 USD. The output currency is US dollar. Very nice, guys. Very nice. So this is how you can get the results. And now you can do analysis on the converted amount. Don't do it on gross amount, because gross amount is in different currency. This is the correct amount. This is what gives you correct result as per the requirement. Awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Okay. So now that was our exercise for currency conversion. Now, next thing, Anubhav, if I want to run a query like you did last time and pass the parameter in the query, how do you do that? So let's run a query to aggregate our data from this view. So what is the runtime object name? It is this one. And I will build a query. So I will just put here, total sales per company. So I'll say total sales per company. So, or per product. So I can just put the product column name. What is it? It is, it's description. Yes, or category. So I want to get total sales per category. So I say category, sum of my converted gross amount as total sales. So you're writing a simple query, group by my category. I run, it doesn't work. Yeah, it says invalid column name. So what's my column name, Anubhav? It's conv gross amount. So CONV gross amount. It's correct only. CONV gross amount. We have activated also. Yes, we have activated. Sum of this conv gross amount. Sorry, my view name is wrong, guys. I'm using attribute view. It should be analytic sales. Yes. And you see, we're getting the data. Parameter value I didn't pass. That's why it's getting the data in euros. If I pass the parameter, so how do you pass parameter? You put parenthesis, placeholder. Yes, placeholder, comma. Then you pass your parameter name, dollar, 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 dollar. In this you put parameter name. This is how you pass it. And let me pass dollar as parameter value. And now if I execute, I should get my values into the I should get my values in the format of dollar actually. Oops, it's not allowing me. Is there any problem? So let me just Google really quick. HANA placeholder, HANA SQL placeholder. Some small mistake I'm doing, guys. That's why it's failing. So the syntax is placeholder. So select from your view name placeholder dot, or you can pass placeholder dot, yeah, parameter name and the value. So it is placeholder dot parameter name. Okay, so that's a small correction. Placeholder dot. Okay, to just copy this guy, copy this guy. Yeah, this guy will be good. And come back here. And our parameter name was IMCURR. So we are engineers, we can solve it. Dollar, execute, and voila, this amount is in dollar now. Total sales per product category is in dollar. This is how you can pass your parameter if you want to the view in the queries. So that is how we can create our views. All right. So now let's quickly also talk about the join types. So when we're doing the join, you see different options are coming. What are these joins? Yes. So HANA possess 8 type of joins. It's an interview question. How many types of joins we have in HANA? So HANA joins. So we have 8 type of joins in HANA. Inner join. So let me note down as bullets. So it's easy for you to view. Inner join, left outer join, right outer join. Then we have star join. We have the spatial join. we have the temporal join, we have text join, and finally we have the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We also have spatial join, star join, temporal join, text join, referential join. These are the 8 type of joins in HANA. So first is inner join. Inner join is used when both the tables have exact matching records based on join condition. This is what inner join. If you want to represent again in a pictorial diagram, let's say if I have a table A which contains the data, I'll just change the format a bit, make it a little transparent. And if I have a table B, the inner join is the intersection of these two tables. Yeah, this is the inner join. Yeah, the left outer join is just like inner join. It will used when we want to get data which is matching between tables, and also the record in left side table for which there is no matching record in right side table. So basically it will be also giving priority to the left side table records because it's a left outer join where it will get you same data as inner join plus also the record of table A which are not matching. So the ones which are matching, which is fine, plus the records of the table A which are not matching also will come. Yeah, will also come in the result set. So this is left outer join. Right outer join. So in case of left outer join, left table is given preference. In case of right outer join, the right table is given preference. So the records from the right side table for which there are no joins on the for which there are no records in the right side table. So that is our right outer join. So in this case, the right table will get more precedence. That is what will happen in case of a right outer join. So that is what system will give more preference. So this is what is the right outer join. Then text join. Text join are always performed when we join the text tables. Text tables are the tables with language field because they contain language specific data. Yes. So in the text join, what will happen? We must have to pass the name of the language column to the system that we have to pass it. So we have to pass that. So when we run, the system will pass logon language. If I log in English, it will give the login language to the database to fetch the data in that particular language. So let me show you. If you go back to the previously created view in the last section, we created this attribute view. In the attribute view, here we use this join, but we are joining with the text table. So this join type should be text join. So we'll change it to text join. And now computer is asking language column. You have to give that. So you will say language column name is language. So this could have been anything. We don't know. It could be langu. It could be espras. We don't know. We have to tell the computer. You know, I know, but computer don't know. So to tell the computer, this is my language column. So what happens at runtime, when you run this view now, yes, system will pass your current login language. So when I log in HANA, I log in HANA in English. So automatically the value English will be passed in this column at runtime automatically behind the scenes. So system will give you always English data if you log in English language. If you change your login language, it will give you data in that particular login language. This is why we use text join, always use with the text table. Now, in the interest of time, I'll stop the session here. These are the remaining 4 join types I will discuss in the next class, and we will talk about following topics in the next episode. Let me put here next topics. So next session, we will discuss about the pending joins. We will talk about how to transport our views to quality and P system. We will talk about calculation views and build complete OIA scenario using them. Remember why we are doing all this, why we are learning? To optimize, to bring performance. We are doing code to data paradigm. So we will build OIA scenario. We will see how much improvement it gets for Mr. James to help him. Yes, Mr. James will be happy man. So we will do that with calculation view learning. Then we will learn about how to transport them to Q2P system, and then how to consume your view results in ABAP system. Remember, we are working all these views in the HANA right now. So basically what we are doing, we're not in a ABAP system. What is a 3-tier architecture? If you remember, presentation layer, application layer, database layer. So where are we doing all the view creation right now? So you are a developer, you are using HANA Studio tool, and you are then connected to HANA, and you're building all your calculation views here. Yes, this is where you're building them. And this is where your HANA view is getting created, the runtime object and design time object. So ultimately, how do you expose this data here? How? That we will learn in the next class. Of course, there are many ways to do that. I will teach everything. It's all planned for you. Don't worry. I'll not leave any stone unturned. We will learn everything step by step. We will not jump over things. I'll not rush through this training. I'll do step by step, slowly and steadily, so you all can understand and learn these concepts. Any questions before we wrap today's session? Interesting. All right. So there are some questions in the chat. Is the query is a open SQL or native SQL? So the query I've written, ma'am, is a native SQL because it's all done in HANA. See, we are directly dealing with database. So everything you're doing here is native SQL. Yes, native SQL. Can we reuse new column in other calculation? Yes, you can. You can. So you see, I'm using it here. I'm using it here. Maybe let me show you another example. This new column gross amount I can use in other calculation. For example, I can now do a ceil function. I'll round off. Yeah, or I can use round function. Round, I will multiply this with, let's say, 0.9. So I'm giving a 10% discount on total sales. So I have just did that. I did some calculation and I'm then rounding it off to 0 decimal points. That's my query. So now it give a 90% discount on total sales with a rounding off to next biggest integer. That is what computer is now done for me. So you can use this column anywhere, wherever you want, later point of time. Whatever you computed, that is possible. Of course, you'll see more examples in the next class. Once again, thank you so much for your love and patience for joining the sessions. I hope to see you in the next episode in the next